yin to Prince Harry's yang, where he was giving an interview to camera and the siren went off and he just pulled off his microphone, he jumped up and he ran towards towards trouble. I know he's in an Apache or don't hit the deep, but I don't know why. I'm a bit of a sucker for that sort of thing. People running towards danger. It's why I'm a big supporter of the fire service, particularly when they're coming under attack from Tory politicians. Suella Braverman was at it only this week. People who run towards danger, they're not infallible. They've got flaws. They're like the rest of us. They've got failings, but they've got something inside them that most of us haven't got. And I just liked that. And if you told me, and then, of course, the image of him walking behind his mum, acting panjandrums at the palace on behalf of Andrew after apparently breaking bread with his PR advisor, that the royal family itself, settlement Pizza Express branch, it remembers them from. Sheesh. Driven last weekend by Prince William to exceptions. And, I mean, there it is, right? That's truly breathtaking, isn't it? This idea that now, it would seem, they are trying to just casually reinsert Andrew Windsor, the artist formerly known as Prince, into polite society, into respectable society. Truly breathtaking. And of course it takes you back to the people that are the most fated and rewarded members of the UK media. The ones that have got some sort of weird old man obsession with Prince Harry's wife, to the point where they often seem to be talking or writing about nothing else. And yet when the paedophile's friend is driven to church by the future king, they haven't got a single syllable to say about it. I wonder whether you could explain that to an outsider. 0345 6060 973. Why is the future king driving his disgraced uncle to church while his brother remains in a form of exile? 0345 6060 973. It's perfectly possible, as quite a few of you are pointing out, that Harry wouldn't want to be welcomed back into the bosom of the family. We don't know. We'll never know. And there's certainly no notion of rehabilitation with Prince Harry. There's nothing to rehabilitate him for. He's done nothing wrong except stand up for what he believes to be right and for his wife. The list of what his uncle has done wrong is as long as your arm. And yet he's the one that the future king is driving to church on a Sunday morning. Do you know, in the next hour, we're likely to talk about the decline of Christianity in this country and the fact that for the first time in living memory, a majority of people living here do not describe themselves thus. I think that might be a large part of the reason. Closest most people get to church is pictures of the royal family attending mass. And a more, how could one put this politely, a more varied bunch of adulterers and breakers of commandments you are unlikely to find assembled in one place. It was human feces, was it, rather than manure? I can't remember. So just explain it to an outsider. Why is the paedophile's friend getting the glad hand from his royal family while Prince Harry is still in isolation? Or leave Harry out of it, if you prefer. What do you think about Andrew, the artist formerly known as Prince, being essentially eased back into public life by the future king of this country? 0345 6060 973 is the number you need. And I mean, you may well know more about the royal family. Well, no, you don't know more about the royal family than I do. Nobody knows more or less about them. We all know exactly the same about the royal family. People who pop up on your telly claiming to be royal experts, they know exactly the same about the royal family that you do. Everything we know is massaged and released and carefully cultivated. It's a perfectly healthy process by which privacy is protected, and the price paid for that is some sort of form of access. But my goodness me, when you think about that lad in California, serving his country, risking his life, falling in love and being treated like public enemy number one as a consequence, and then you think about his uncle, who took Jeffrey Epstein to sit on the Queen's bench at Balmoral, and which one is the future king warming up to? Yeah, you got it. You got it in one. Just explain it to me. Have a crack at explaining it to me. I bet you can't, but you're going to have to try.
Well, my theory is the difference is not because of what they did or didn't do or how bad what they didn't do or do was. It's basically that Harry has broken the family code and Andrew hasn't.
That's
And what
weird.
I mean
That's
by
some
that,
code, isn't it? Go on.
it was a bit like the mafia, I think.
Yes.
When you're in that family, you cannot talk to the press. You have to certain ways. You can't talk. You can't. You've got to kind of follow the family code, which, as far as I can see, is protect William, and then the second in line tends to be the one that they leak stories out.
Leave him alone, and we'll give you some dirt on the other one.
Yes,
yeah,
correct, and that's done in little increments.
Well, go after his wife. Fill your boots. Write what you want about his wife.
Correct.
That'll sell papers,
Yeah.
but leave him out of it. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Well, that's Harry's accusation, isn't it? I think that's that is part of his thesis.
And I think, that's why Andrew can be rehabilitated, because he didn't break the family code. He, basically Harry, I guess by writing his book and putting everything out there, he stopped them having any ammunition against him. And I think that's the main problem. But I think the thing is, basically, Andrew kept the code. He didn't say anything to the press. Doesn't matter what he's done, because he's kept the code.
And that actually speaks. I didn't think I'd be saying this at 11:36 today, but that speaks to the conversation we had in the last hour about Chinese communism. You may not realise this yet, Sarah, but I'm pretty sure it does, because they're thinking about the next Harry, and they're thinking about the great. So if you are born into this family, then the only rules that matter are our rules.
Yes.
And Harry broke our rules. Andrew didn't. Yes. Therefore, there is a way back for him, which means that their great-great-great-grandchildren will, the precedent is upheld, isn't it? That the rules you can't break are the rules of, what do the mafia call it? Omerta, I think. The rules of omerta. And so you can pay £12 million of your mum's money to a woman who has accused you of 3 separate sexual assaults and not break the family code. But if you call out your family for colluding with the media in attacks upon your wife, then you're toast.
Correct. That's exactly how I see it.
Good
I
grief.
think it's terrible.
Well, then I must invite you to answer the next question, which is how or why does the British public go along with this level of moral corruption?
Imagine living in a country where the media treats a decorated veteran and humanitarian like a villain, while bending over backwards to rebrand a man linked to Jeffrey Epstein as some misunderstood royal uncle. Yeah. Welcome to the Twilight Zone, also known as the British royal bubble. Let's start with the obvious. Prince Harry, a man who literally ran toward danger in Afghanistan, risking his life for his country. A man who's spent years advocating for wounded soldiers through Invictus. And, let's not forget, someone who had the guts to stand up for his wife when the press and even parts of his own family wouldn't. Now, whether you agree with every word he said in Spare or not, you've got to admit, Harry did something rare in royal history. He stood up to the system. He said, "Enough is enough. I'm not watching my wife be ripped apart for sport." And what did he get in return? Public exile, headlines calling him ungrateful, and a royal institution that seems more comfortable forgiving a scandal-ridden uncle than acknowledging a son who dared to tell the truth. Now, let's talk about the other one, the royal formerly known as Prince. A man so infamous, he's practically a walking cautionary tale. The guy who was literally friends with Epstein after the world knew Epstein was a convicted sex offender. The man who spent millions, of his late mother's money, by the way, to make accusations disappear. And yet, he's the one getting chauffeured to church by the future king. Like, are we living in a parody? It's the same family that stripped Harry of his military titles, a man who actually served, while cozying up to someone who couldn't even remember visiting Pizza Express in Woking. Someone, please, make it make sense. The hypocrisy is mind-blowing. When Harry defends his wife, he's disloyal. But when Andrew hides behind palace walls, he's protected. When Harry talks about therapy and trauma, he's whining. When Andrew hides from the public, he's taking time to heal. The contrast is almost poetic, if it weren't so disturbing. And you know what's even worse? The media silence. The same loudmouth pundits who churned out daily smear pieces about Meghan Sussex can't seem to find one word to say about the Queen's favourite son's questionable friendships. Let's be honest, Harry's biggest crime wasn't stepping down or moving to California. His real sin was breaking the code. The unspoken royal rule that says, protect the heir, destroy the spare. He refused to leak, refused to play the press's game, and dared to tell the world how that palace media partnership really works. That was unforgivable. Because in that world you can commit nearly anything, as long as you keep your mouth shut and keep the PR machine running. Andrew, for all his scandals, didn't expose the system. Harry did, and that's why he's out. Not because he did wrong, but because he told the truth. So here we are in 2025, watching a future king roll up to church with his disgraced uncle, while his younger brother, the one who actually served, actually worked, and actually stood up for women, is still being treated like a national traitor. And if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about royal priorities, nothing will. It's not about morals. It's about control, about protecting the system over protecting people. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan Sussex are out here thriving, raising their kids in peace, helping veterans, advocating for mental health, and supporting communities worldwide, all while being mocked by tabloids that can't stand seeing them succeed without palace approval. So here's the question we're all asking. Why is the royal family bending over backwards to rehabilitate the friend of Epstein, but refusing to reconcile with the man who simply wanted to protect his wife? You know the answer, because Harry broke their silence code. He stood up, he spoke up, and that's something the old establishment can't handle. If you're tired of the double standards and proud to support Harry and Meghan Sussex for living authentically, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment and tell me what you think. Why do you think the palace protects the wrong people? And if you love what we're doing here on Sussexes Squad, consider supporting the channel through Buy Me a Coffee. Every contribution helps us keep shining a light on the truth behind the headlines. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, standing up for what's right isn't betrayal. It's bravery.